welcome. Sunday night, April 7th, 2024. This is the Houn Show. I'm your host, Dixie Shank. I'll be with you for the next about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. This is our basically weekday, weekly, nightly, on the fly show. So we're not really covering any specific topics tonight. I do want to mention, though, that we have set up our locals page. So we do encourage everybody to go check that out. It's thehounshow.locals.com. There is a link on the profile in Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble right now, we will get that up, our descriptions updated on all of our videos to include that link as well. But we do have some other information in there that's, good information that's in the description to follow us and get us over. If you're watching on YouTube, we do leave the stream on YouTube about 15, 20 minutes in. And then we'll be exclusively on Rumble from there. And then also we plan on putting up exclusive content that we haven't streamed live, pre-recorded episodes and interviews and such on our locals page. So we'll also have a chat going on over there. In fact, we're going to be probably monitoring the chat exclusively there over on locals coming up. We do try to monitor the chat comments in the chat throughout the stream, but we're probably going to get to where we just focus squarely on that because there's just so much stuff going on. So, but we do want to encourage everybody to check out that information. We also have added a link in the description for a product called River, so we are a proponent of Bitcoin on here as far as being a completely sovereign asset that you can own and you own it yourself. Through self-custody, nobody can take it from you, nobody can seize it, and they can't debase it by printing more of it. So it's the best store of value. But we do have a link in the profile that's to a service called River, and they're actually a Bitcoin-only exchange. They don't sell any of the other shit coins or any of the other, Dogecoin, Solana, Ethereum, all these other garbage coins that are just deep state controlled and manipulated with backdoors and CEOs and just crap, right? It's not real. It's not Bitcoin. Okay. So, but anyway, but they're a Bitcoin only exchange. So go check it out. There's a link in the description. You get $5 if you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. There's also information on the site about how to self-custody. So we'll do an episode later about going into what self-custody means, but it's something that you should research. And it really essentially means that you're your own bank, right? You are holding your own asset and you're protecting it yourself. You're not relying on a third party or a bank to do that for you. So, check that out. It's definitely worth checking out. Links in the description. Also, we will take live calls. So if you want to call into the show tonight and you want to talk about whatever you want to discuss, it's totally cool. But you can call into the show. Now, we'll have certain segments coming up. We're going to go over some news and stuff like that. If we have a guest that might call in a little bit later, I'm expecting to hear from, we'll get them on and probably do some discussion with them. So then after the guest is when the ideal time to call into the show, because we'll be able to take it. We won't be in the middle of something already. So yeah, but give us a call because we could talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. I'm not an expert in everything. So hopefully, somebody calls in, they can educate me on a subject. That'd be awesome. That's really what I want to do is kind of open up the dialogue and have some type of discourse about different things from different perspectives. This show's all about the small town perspective. I think it would probably be even more accurate to say small town, southeastern part of the U.S. So, but we are, in fact, my wife and I live in a small town, grew up in a small town, and we just have, I think, a very unique perspective on things that doesn't necessarily get covered or expressed in some of this other content that's out there. I mean, there are some people that do, obviously. But this is a little bit different. We're Generation Xers and we grew up in the Southeast. So it's a little bit different perspective than say, somebody in their 20s that grew up in the Southeast. It's just different time, different way of thinking. So that's what we're bringing with the stream and the content that we're trying to deliver here. But yeah, so we do want to thank anybody who's tuned in, who's watched a couple of our episodes. I think we're on episode 6. We hope to continue. I mean, we're going to continue making content for the different platforms that we've been able to get on. But we're also looking at being able to kind of expand that to include articles, interviews, special reports, deep dives on certain subjects, which is kind of what we're doing right now. But we're just starting out. I mean, we are basically fresh, like right off the tree fresh. We're not even probably ripe yet. You know what I'm saying? At all. So it's kind of being built from the ground up, from nothing, no experience, no previous roles or previous stuff, with podcasts or anything like that. So we're just kind of building this from the ground up. It seemed like a worthwhile cause. We wanted to be able to talk to people and say something and share an opinion that we thought maybe wasn't being heard, whether it be my own opinion or opinion of others that wasn't being expressed or heard out there on some type of social media platform and not being censored. So we decided to try and do that, try and fill that, what I perceived as a little bit of a gap, right? From a small town perspective. I see a lot of content out there that is like that, but we thought we had something to offer. So we, started doing this, but like I said, we're self-taught and we're kind of learning the whole thing, right? And there is a lot to learn about doing podcasts. Let me just say, if you've ever thought about what these people go through to develop this, to put this stuff together, man, there is hours of work involved in this. I mean, to some respect, you kind of build some automation a little bit here and there, but I mean, making the graphics and, timing and scene change. I mean, all this, there's several podcasters that have a very professional, sophisticated studio to do podcasts. So we're learning. We're still learning. So we do have issues here and there. We've had some pitfalls over the past few episodes where we've either had an audio issue and really it's all kind of, we figured it out. It's all kind of attributed to bandwidth. We're working on getting some basically wired connections to some of the equipment, and that's what we're having an issue with. So once we get that, I think we won't have any more problems with audio or glitchy video or anything like that. So that's that's something we got to work on again, right? Physically, we got to make some changes here and get that problem eliminated. So until that time happens, we've got contingencies in place for what we do on the stream live to kind of mitigate that risk of having the audio issue or audio get choppy and whatnot. So we're still working on, getting everything together. But we do appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Like I said, we do have a locals channel now, our locals community. So check us out over there. It's the hounshow.locals.com. You can support us through that if you'd like. Our live streams are on Rumble, they're on Twitter or X, and they're on the locals channel. Now, you can watch the full stream. What we'll have in locals will be basically exclusive chat and some videos that or content that we've created that has not been put up on Rumble or X. So there'll be it's probably going to kind of be in the shape of maybe interviews or special deep dives into certain subject matter that you can only see there. So if you're interested in that and supporting us in that endeavor, then please, subscribe, support us in that manner if you can. But our live streams will always be live on Rumble. You don't have to subscribe. It's totally free to watch, and we're going to keep it that way. So there's no plans to change that. But over also on locals too, we're going to incorporate basically a survey type situation where you can, kind of drive what we're going to discuss or what kind of subjects we'll dig into and do an investigation in and figure out, or put something together to discuss on the podcast. So, we'll have surveys of like this story or this story kind of thing is what I'm thinking. So we'll be doing that over on locals exclusively. So if you are a supporter, then you'll be able to participate in what kind of content we create on the stream. So we're real excited about that. So before we get into some news. Well, actually, let's just let's do that. Let's just do a little bit of news. A couple interesting things going on. Let's check it out. So, if you don't know, tomorrow there is going to be an eclipse. The times vary, obviously, because it's moving across the sky, right? So different states are going to see at different times. I would say if you're in the southeast, start looking for it around 1:30 p.m. And depending on how, I don't know if you're going to have overcast or you're going to have cloud situation that day, tomorrow. But yeah, somewhere around 1 to, I think it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock for, all of basically the southeast. So I'd say get out about 1:30 to make sure you can locate where you're looking, if you can even, and not miss any of the, of the eclipse. But yeah, that's supposed to be happening tomorrow. It's April 8th, 2024, solar eclipse. But there was a simulation put up, and it's basically they've got every state and how it's going to be, how you're going to see it, like how much coverage there's going to be. And it's interesting though, because the simulation kind of shows it's not a complete 100% eclipse. But of course, this is just all for the United States. I think states in the United States, and you may have to be somewhere else to see it fully, right? Depending on where you're at on the earth. We do drink beer on the show. I mean, why not? But yeah, so that's interesting. So there's going to be an eclipse tomorrow. Be sure and check it out. It's a cool thing to share with your family. Don't look straight at it though. For God's sakes, don't look straight at it, because it will hurt your eyes. So, but yeah, check it out. They've got their special glasses. They look like movie theater glasses. They're made out of paper, and you unfold them and put them on to look at. They're just basically really, really, really dark sunglasses. You can even do the little trick where you get a box and you poke a hole in the box and you point the box at the eclipse, and the light will shine through the hole when you put a piece of paper down there, and you can see it kind of like a projector kind of deal. That's a good way to look at it also. So in other news, it looks like Switzerland is saying no mo. We can't do it no mo. I'm talking about the immigrants. There's I guess a migration crisis going on. There's a lot of immigrants coming up from the Middle East, Ukraine. They're getting out of these war-torn areas, and they're moving up there. And Switzerland said that they held a referendum the other day to restrict their population to 10 million until 2050. We are done. It's an effort to maintain a sustainable demographic development. So this was the other day that they are. It basically just says that they are going to hold a referendum. So they're going to get people to vote. Do we need more people here or no? So we also have a little bit of some news from The Guardian. Well, this is always kind of crazy to me. These people think that they're doing something good. But they're just exposing their bias. It's the craziest thing. I think I have a video file of this. And here comes my lovely dog down the stairs. But yeah, so the Guardian published this article the other day. Polls show Trump winning key swing states. That's partly a failure of the press, says Margaret Sullivan for the Guardian. Really? So, so this lady writes an article stating polls are showing Trump is going to he's winning key swing states, and that's partly a failure of the press. So they have not attacked him enough, is what she's saying, because he's doing well in the polls. They have not gone after him hard enough. That's a shame. Well, it's quite obvious that there's a bias against, not only a bias, but an active attack, onslaught against Trump, and it doesn't seem that it's going to subside. In fact, it's just going to accelerate. And that's what this lady's talking about. They're not taking it serious enough that Trump actually has supporters. So they've got to work harder to reduce that. They've got to get rid of those supporters. They got to tarnish him more. We're not doing it enough. We have to turn it up, guys. We have to destroy this man to protect democracy. Right? Because democracy is being whatever. Just shut up. All right, I'm going to try and get this video up on the stream. We may have some audio issue here. No. All right, that was super slick. So in other news, there was an interview that Tucker Carlson did with this guy that wrote this article called "The Vibe Shift," and it's actually kind of interesting. And I took this clip from the interview, and it's not very long. It's not the whole interview, but if you like Tucker, you've probably already seen it if you already watched Tucker Carlson. I don't know. I watched some of his episodes. I'm not one to watch him every single day, but a lot of times I'll catch people have posted a clip of an interview, and then, I'll go and watch the interview because of the clip, and then I'll take a clip and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, but there was, this guy wrote this article on his own Substack, evidently, that he had just started because he had pitched it to some publication and they didn't pick it up. And so he created his own Substack and posted the article, and I guess Tucker had read it, but it's basically the premise. It's called The Vibe Shift. And basically the premise is that people are waking up to the difference between what the news and the government and everything is telling you and reality and the truth, that there is a gap there, that the government is not telling you the truth. Right, the media, the mainstream media, the legacy media is not telling you the truth. They all have a hidden agenda to force propaganda down your throat and force you to try and believe the propaganda that they're pushing on you. And so this article is about how people are waking up and seeing that difference, and then he goes on to say that a lot of the reason is because people now are able to communicate, or these strange alliances are starting to form where people want to work together towards a solution. Like they have something that this other group needs, and this group has something that they need, and we should work together for that. And evidently it was hard for this type of alliances to form previously because of algorithmic, purposeful efforts to keep these people separate, right? So they could not see each other or coordinate or communicate or find each other, really. Couldn't find each other. And so after Elon Musk took over Twitter, they were able to kind of find each other and pick up on, hey, man, you're trying to do this. That's what we want, We may not agree on everything, but we both agree on this. Let's work together on it. Which is really, the essence of America. That's the essence of our country. So, but the way he put it was, this has been actively attacked, and we've been actively divided. But anyway, I'll play the clip, and it's a short clip.
the response is going to be increased pressure in some ways, and this is why I talk about this in the piece. An important part of the life shift, maybe not its sole cause, but certainly an important piece of the enabling of the life shift was Elon Musk buying Twitter, turning it into X. There was it's hard to overstate without kind of sounding hyperbolic, but these groups that I'm talking about, disparate groups that are now finding themselves working together, where by design, algorithmically or otherwise, unable to find each other, even as early as 18 months ago. And you couldn't talk online. You couldn't find other people who thought like you, or even wanted to ask the same questions as you. And it made it very difficult, very isolating to a very sort of isolating dynamic for people to be online, to find co-belligerents and others who share their mind, their values. I think that pressure will escalate. But Elon has kind of taken an important piece of the puzzle of the bureaucrats' puzzle out, completely toppled that sort of Jenga tower, and enabled for a new dynamic online for people interacting with each other in ways that really does threaten that monolithic power structure.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? If they've been working to try and keep these people divided or preventing them from finding each other through the social media platforms, to digitally drive a wedge between people from finding each other, and now all of a sudden people are starting to find each other, that's a threat, it's a good thing, but they don't want it. And anything that they don't want is probably a good idea at this point in the game. And I think it makes a valid, what the takeaway from that too is this is good news. That means that people are waking up and people are fed up. People are seeing this difference. People are going across and finding people they would not otherwise aligned with or allied with, and they're allying with them because to fight this difference that we're having, this difference between government speak, media, the legacy media, and reality. There's obviously a difference. There's a huge gap in there, right? And if there's a huge gap, what else are they not telling us? What else have they not been telling us for years is the question. But I have not read the article. He does go into a pretty good amount of detail about the article, but he does have a Substack. I'm sure it would not be hard to find. It's called The Vibe Shift is the name of the article. I'm sure any search engine is going to turn it up by now. It's probably got a ton of hits since Tucker interviewed this guy. So I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to try and read it later on. So I would, you don't have to, but it might be worth reading. It sounds like it's got, some uplifting, that's another thing the guy said in the interview was that, he wanted to write the article because he's seeing this trend happening, and what he's realizing is that people are not taking the black pill, right? Which means to give up. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can stop. We can't change the situation. It just is what it is, right? The black pill. Can't do nothing about it, no matter what we try. But yeah, I thought that was very uplifting. I think that the fact that younger generation people are seeing this, people in their 20s, early mid-20s are seeing this is a good sign. It's a good sign because, on that our previous show, we talked about social subversion, where society is trying to be manipulated into a certain way of thinking. So, I think at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to drop YouTube. We certainly appreciate everybody who tuned in and watched, but we're going to go ahead and drop YouTube. If you check the description, if you're watching on YouTube, you can move over to Rumble and you can see the rest of the show. we're going to get into some topics that aren't necessarily allowed to be discussed, or might violate terms of service with YouTube. So we're going to drop YouTube at this point. We've got about 20 seconds. But we do certainly appreciate everybody who found us on YouTube, and we would love for you to come over and watch us on Rumble. We also are streaming live on X, and you can find us, our locals page at thehounshow.locals.com, and you can get us there as well. But good night to everyone watching YouTube. Please follow us over at Rumble and take a look. You can see the rest of the episode. Thank you so much.